You're listening to Three's a Crowd, the North East Footy Podcast, with Rye for Boro, Steve for Newcastle United, and Ted for Sunderland.
Good morning, beautiful people around this beautiful world of ours. Welcome to Three's a Crowd Podcast, the only North East football podcast where we talk Middlesbrough, Sunderland, and Newcastle. We bring the three teams normally rivals together for a bit of banter, a bit of laughs, and we cover everything Northeast. We hope you've had a fantastic week. We thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts for joining us, especially Ted, because we didn't think Ted was going to join us because he's building an apartment, all right? And he comes in and he's just whinging about the apartment, and we don't have time for that, Ted, okay? Steve and I are what you call celebrities, okay? We're big deals, okay? And you make us wait.
You got the last half of the word right. You're a tiddy, definitely, but I don't know about the celebrity thing.
Funny enough, Ted sent me a photograph this week. He's been ordering stuff from IKEA. He got some oven chips from his bit.
I never want to see that logo again.
Do you have the patience to build the packs? I never do, eh?
No. Absolutely not. So we're paid for delivery. We're paying for a guy to put it together as well. That's I'm nose diving towards 50, and everything starts to hurt now. My back at the minute is absolutely killing off about 3 or 4 days worth of emulsion, and so I'm just not built for that sort of thing. Charlie's here. He's actually putting a light fitting up for me at the minute. I've learned more of him in the last 2 hours about DIY than I have done in any other time in my life. But I'm too pretty. I'm too pretty for it.
You're like Christian Speakman of like the making your own apartment world or something. Like you're just the delegate, aren't you?
But I'm a fixer, yeah. Mrs. Ted will agree with that as well. I make a very good foreman, and it also has like sort of sparked the conversation. I turned around and said, "Can you see why people at work don't like me?" And she absolutely fully understood why. Yeah, it's delegation.
I don't know why.
Name of the game.
I don't know why Steve and I are still here, to be honest, after so long. It's like we just battle on. Good morning to you, Steve.
Good morning. Yes, it's not a new boy band. There's been reference made to you both wearing hats and me not wearing a hat from Jules already. Ted's got
Look at this.
Clothing.
Mackem Clothing.
Yes.
He's got his own branding now. Jeez. Hey, anything to get a plug out, I tell you. Well done, Teddy. Good morning.
I'll get some Boro clothing where it falls apart after Easter, doesn't it?
Wait. Well, the only pink thing falling apart is Tottenham, and we can all laugh at that very, very much. So good. Let's get into it. We got so much football to talk about. We've only got a short show as well because we've got to get Ted back into his building and his IKEA flat packing. But we've had a massive weekend. There is a lot happening in the footballing world, especially for our three beautiful clubs. Middlesbrough will kick it off first as we look backwards before we look forwards. Middlesbrough played on Friday night, a Friday night feast taking on West Brom away at the Hawthorns, and Middlesbrough were coming up against a tough opposition who had just appointed a new manager. Their manager, Ryan Mason, had been sacked. He was the ex-Tottenham assistant manager. Anything that comes out of Tottenham these days just sucks. And West Brom went and got a new manager. And Middlesbrough were able to get victors 3-2 over West Brom. It was an amazing game. We saw two debutants on the bench in Castle Dean and Finn Munro, our new left back, and it was a fantastic game in the first half. The second half wasn't too good for a Middlesbrough fan. We were 2-0 up at halftime, and then they brought it back 2-2 in the second half, and we were all absolutely S and bricks. And funnily enough, it's Alana Bergzorg who has copped a lot of criticism from me, but also from a lot of the fan base, and is on the verge, we believe, of a move to Bristol City on loan. Scored the winning goal in the 90th minute after great movement by Sammy Silvera, who has absolutely come out and just taken his chance since the Callum Britton injury. Sammy Silvera, my Aussie compatriot, has managed to stick one to the man and managed to stick it to the fans as well because he's had a lot of hatred. Middlesbrough fans are very, very particular, Teddy boy, and I've learnt this in the week. I've had a couple of podcasts, mate, this week, and a lot of them have been critical on the podcast as well of Hayden Hackney, which is crazy. And a lot of them calling out that Hayden Hackney isn't worthy of all the plaudits and all this sort of stuff. I think it's absolutely silly. But let's focus on it, mate. It's a big, big win. It's one of those games, mate, on that Friday night that when you look back in that whole promotion mix, if we are there at the end of the season, that you go, geez, that was a vital 3 points.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I want to start my feedback on this with me defending Middlesbrough fans, which is something I don't do often. But I saw on social media a couple of digs that there were tickets remaining in the away end. There was cash turn styles, the limited number of tickets available, and a few of the. I've got to be careful what I say because daytime show and all that sort of. Well, a couple of the keyboard warrior fans, some around the Championship and some of the Premier League as well, having a go saying, I thought Middlesbrough had a big away following and can't even sell away tickets. It's Friday night. It's on the telly. It's a nightmare for people finishing work. Start and have a go at these TV companies and start and have a go at the EFL for this fixture debacle that's going on. Having a go at hard-working fans who, and I will defend Newcastle, Sunderland and Middlesbrough fans to the hilt for their away following because their away support is by far the best in the country, bar none. They just travel in serious numbers. So to start and take the mick, because there's a couple of tickets left on a Friday night at a crap kickoff time that leaves people pretty stranded halfway across the country. It's not on. It's not on. Have a bit of banter. Obviously, like what we do, say Middlesbrough will probably fall apart after Easter, But having to go at them about not being able to sell out an away allocation on a Friday night halfway across the country is just crap banter, to be honest. But there we go. Defense over. I didn't see the game live. I had to rely on the highlights, mate, to be honest. But going away to the Hawthorns, no matter what state they're in, they are a solid Championship outfit, and going away to West Brom and getting a win is a serious achievement. You've got you saw by the way they pegged you back with 2-2. They've got it in them to actually perform in that division. There's still a good couple of players short of being what I would say, contenders for promotion. What I like about Middlesbrough at this moment in time is like you said, people are taking their chance. Silvera is a prime example of that, an absolute prime example. And I've seen it, mate. I've seen him get absolute dog's abuse from some fans, and you, to your credit, you stuck by him and said he'll come good. He'll come good. He had that loan spell away. I think everybody at that point when he went away was it Portsmouth. He was on loan. After.
Yeah, it was Portsmouth. Yeah, he got booed out of the stadium.
Yeah, and that for me is just awful. Like the kid doesn't need that. And like you say, he's taking his chance, mate. And Bergsog's exactly the same. It's for different reasons. I don't think anybody was saying hounding him out the club or anything like that. But it was just kind of widely agreed that maybe it was time for him to move on. But the best way to answer critics is by scoring goals and getting results. And that's what Middlesbrough are doing right now. And the Hackney thing, I saw the rumours today about linking him with Man United. He's a Carrick-style player. I think obviously they're going to make the association with Michael Carrick. He was his manager. He played well under Michael Carrick as well. He was excellent in the derbies that we had. I can't see it though, because obviously this is an interim role for Michael Carrick. Unless he absolutely tears up trees and gets them into Europe, he's not going to be in contention for the job full time. That means that Hayden Hackney becomes the old manager's signing, and that never works out well. So I think if Hackney's going to go anywhere in the Premier League, it'll be a more considered move. An established club, somebody like a Villa or somebody like that, I think he'd go down really well. But I can't see him going to Man United. It doesn't fit right, does it? It's not the way. But no, great result, mate. You keep on pulling it out of the bag, and I think we can pretty much say we're safe now. We're looking like well on for getting all three North East teams in the Premier League next season. And
I cannot wait. What happens. I cannot wait. Can you imagine? The Overlap's going to be calling us saying, lads, you're taking all our viewers. We're going to be that popular next season. The big thing for me, Steve, when we look at Middlesbrough, mate, is we're turning games into decent victories. Obviously, that one was going to be down for a Boro or draw. West Brom had pegged us back, obviously, from 2-0 up. They parked the bus as well, mate. They were playing football terrorism in the first half. It was like 11 boys in their box, and they said, and throw everything in front of the shots. And we had something like 88% possession in that first half. It was absolutely crazy. But the big thing, mate, that I love is that Middlesbrough are finding a way to win even when they shouldn't. Bergzorg, obviously, someone that hasn't been favoured and came off the bench. Then we scored we lost the 2 goals, and everyone was blaming the Bergzorg substitution. But then, obviously, we get the goal in the 90th minute, and we turn it into a 3-2 victory. And what looks to be, funny enough, a really good time to be taking the points after a horror Christmas run.
Yeah, I mean, it was an even Stevens game. It was, it doesn't matter how you win, but to get a 3-2 win against West Brom, Ted's already stole me thunder. Really, it is a very tough place to go, no matter how well or badly they're doing. But it was first of all a good win. I'll give credit to the back four. Obviously conceded
Matt
2
Target.
goals. Yeah, I mean, Matt Target played left back
in
the game, and I'll give credit to Luke Ayling as well. I thought Luke Ayling as well, who I thought probably would be surplus to requirement at the start of the season, but Middlesbrough he did okay, and Alan Brown again, at right back. There was a bit of purpose about them, but it's the experience that those players give you. They've been there, done it, got the t-shirt at a higher level, and those players really carried Boro through that particular game. But it was tight on stats. I mean, it was almost even Stevens on possession. I think Middlesbrough probably just shaded it, and it was despite the scoreline, there wasn't a great deal of goal mouth action. I think there was something. I think there was something like 9 shots that Boro had. But it's the accuracy, five on target that they had. So it was a big win. It was an important win. And at the start of the season, when Middlesbrough got off to a bit of a flyer and then, Coventry overtook them, I think that was when people were going, it's the same old, Boro are going to chuck it away. But here we are on the 18th of January and Boro are second still. They're still the team in second place. Fair enough, Ipswich have got a game in hand. Hull have got a game in hand as well. Yeah. But we're still talking about an automatic promotion place for Boro here. You would imagine now, looking down the division, that another couple of wins and another couple of defeats for these people who are these other teams behind you, then Boro are almost in that position where they can say they've cemented their place in the playoffs. It's the Easter fixtures are usually when we get to that stage. But I genuinely think, that was a great result, and it was a good way to kickstart the weekend for Three's a Crowd's teams, because obviously Boro win, Sunderland won yesterday, and hopefully Newcastle can get 3 points today.
We do need to look forward very quickly. Obviously, we have got a lot of football coming up in this short week of ours, and obviously we got to talk about Sunderland as well, because they played yesterday. And Ted, I don't want to call you the club killer, but you've broken Crystal Palace again. It's not the first time that Sunderland have broken a club this season. You're going to get what looks to be Glasner's last game. It looks like he's going to get sacked after he came out and said in the press conference, I feel completely abandoned from his transfer in the transfer regards in terms of Guehi getting sold the day before. It looks to be like another mac and mashing, mate, because you've broken Palace. It does look like it's not looking pretty. It's not looking pretty at all. A big 2-1 victory though, mate. And if we don't care about Palace, we care obviously on your regards about Sunderland, and obviously a massive 2-1 victory, mate.
Not like match of the day then.
No,
match of the day was an absolute disgrace, by the way, last night. There was not a pick of mention of Sunderland's performance, no analyze of the way we played. It was all about Palace's manager, who's going to get sacked anyway.
Yeah.
So the BBC, to be honest, can absolutely do one for me. That was crap programming last night from
I heard they've got Steve now who's running the programming, so Steve is probably organising it that you don't shove us.
Do you know what?
So that's probably why.
Steve would give more analysis on a Sunderland game than the BBC would, and I've got every confidence in being able to say that's correct. That it was disgraceful. It was just all about Palace being in a state and nothing about what was an incredibly well fought result for us. Palace haven't lost in about 7 visits to the Stadium of Light. They really are the fancy playing there. Obviously, yes, the manager was already, some of these comments in the presser before the game, you're kind of thinking, announcing that you're going to leave, is it going to have that little effect, that blip that it had with Jurgen Klopp when he was leaving Liverpool, and all of a sudden they stopped playing for him for a little while. The Gueye transfer, yes, that was bound to affect them as well. But to be honest, I think that's probably making excuses for them a little bit, because they knew he was going to be leaving anyway.
Yeah,
it was always on the cards. It shouldn't have been a shock. What was a shock was obviously conceding the way we did. It was a very, very unlike Sunderland to concede that kind of goal. It was just, I mean, he shanked it, to be honest. I still don't think he meant it. I really don't think that he meant it. But, going 1-0 behind, it didn't faze me. I kind of knew we'd be back in it. I didn't think it was going to be 3 minutes later, don't get us wrong. But I feel confident now that what have we pulled out? Something like 12 or 15 points from losing positions.
Yeah.
That's in our game to be able to do that. And it was terrific across the park, to be honest. Yeah. It was another game where, I'm watching Enzo Lafay, who was in the depths of despair after that penalty against Brentford, but then, he put it right against Everton and then some. And then his performance yesterday, not only coming up with a wonderful taken goal. I mean, it was such a lovely finish. It was a proper striker's finish. Give over. You're a troll. You're actually an internet troll, aren't you?
I thought you'd come prepared, Teddy boy, because obviously Sunderland have now gone above Newcastle in the table again, even by a solitary point, mate.
What happens in May that counts? What happens in May that counts, mate? That's we're a newly promoted side. We're just enjoying every game as they come. No. If the teams below the newly promoted side get upset about that, we can't control that. We can't control that. But Lafay's performance yesterday, and I'll come on to the bigger picture of this as well. Lafay's performance was just typical of what we're seeing from every single player in that team. Taking his goal like an absolute expert striker. It was like an Ian Rush finish. Steve will remember watching him passing the ball into the net and just a lovely finisher. But then next minute, you've got Lafay back up in a left-back position and bullying players and harassing and biting and putting little tackles in. And I love that about him. And I'm all about that. The North East football fans cheer tackles as loud as the cheer goals. That's part of our makeup. So we love to see that. Right across the park, Robin Roos, I mean, 2 absolutely unbelievable saves at the beginning of the game. He just seems to get better and better. Xhaka, the ball he played in for Mukiele just before the first goal, superb. Robbie, oh my God. I mean, he got kicked to bits all game, mate. He's an absolute tank.
Isn't he?
Yeah, he is. And he only seems to score world-class goals as well. I mean, that finish yesterday was just insane.
Oh, it's class.
Obviously, bent his leg into some sort of FIFA 16 glitch position that caused the cramp. It was incredible. And like I say, he was a battering ram all game. He was getting kicked to bits off 2 centre-backs and just took it all in his stride. We were getting nothing off that referee.
And I was going to bring him up, mate, because he seems to be, obviously, you've got that battle of Wilson Isidore, who we all thought, I mean, I personally thought, you said to me again, end of last season, that you thought he was made for the Premier League. And I actually thought that Isidore would be replaced. When you were going through the start of the season, the summer, and we saw the amount of influx of players that Sunderland were doing, I thought was for sure, we saw the likes of, of Mark Gueye from Chelsea on loan and all that sort of stuff that Isidore wasn't going to be near the thing. Well, you've managed to now get a double strike force in Brian Bobby, who wasn't meant to be there. If only it wasn't Chelsea stuffing you around, then Brian Bobby probably wouldn't have been in a Sunderland shirt.
True, absolutely true. And I think, I mean, I for once, I have absolute faith in the Sunderland manager. I trust Regis Labrise in what he's bringing into the starting lineup. So there will be days where Mayenda is fancied, to replace Bobby like what he did yesterday. Yeah. And that's purely because it's the physicality. There's other teams where where we feel like we can get in behind and maybe play the back three and maybe it's a little bit slower kind of defenders, where Isidore comes into his own and he can play slightly off the wing. We've got a nice situation. I still think we need somebody. Look, I watched Mateta yesterday, and I said at half time, Mateta was the best centre forward we've come across all season.
Yeah,
and that's bang on. I thought his overall game yesterday was terrific, and that'll be the next one that leaves Palace.
Yeah.
It's got to be. I don't think we'll be able to afford him. He'll go to a big club, Mateta. I was just so impressed. He reminded me of Drogba. It was kind of that big physical presence. He bullied centre backs. He gave Dan Ballard an absolute hiding at times. When Ballard came through it well, but he was the toughest, certainly the toughest striker that we come across. But when it comes down to it, 3 points, that's exactly what we needed. A lot of people are now saying, I think that's us. Weirdly today, I think, Wolves are gone anyway. I think this is just a case of how many Newcastle are going to score. Unfortunately, that probably means we're going to be pushed back down. But listen, eyes on the prize. We just need to keep on picking these points up. We've got another couple of decent games coming up where I think we can get points out of it. And let's just see where we end up. There's still nothing in terms of transfers in, apart from the young Ivorian winger we just signed.
Jocelyn Tarby.
Yes, if his YouTube is anything to be to go by, which it really is,
not wrong.
But he looks decent. Again, you've got to put trust in the way the guys are doing their transfer business, because the players we've brought in have just been exceptional this season.
They really are. They really are.
One I wanted to single out just at the end as well. The final one I just want to mention was Omar Alderete yesterday. Put in possibly the most cultured, wonderful centre-back performance I've seen in years. It was just tremendous. Skill on the ball, being able to throw defenders with a little drop on the shoulder, but being able to do the dirty work of being a centre-back as well. I thought it was absolutely incredible. The Player of the Year awards at Sunderland this season is going to be an absolute bun fight, because it could be any one of about 8.
Well, it's going to be Alan Brown. He's going to win it for Sunderland from Middlesbrough because of the way he's playing for us.
You probably get Dan Neil as well, mate.
We're going to look back. We want to move quickly on. We're going to go to Steve. Obviously, we want to look back at that Newcastle result against Man City. I know you probably don't want to talk about it, so we'll give it a bit of a quick gloss over here, Steve. Obviously, it was a massive win on the weekend, mate, against Bournemouth in the FA Cup third round. Obviously, going to the penalties, it was an absolute epic shootout. And then we had that backup game. And we were talking about this last week on the podcast. And I still think, one, there was the offside goal. But secondly, the ability to have Semenyo playing in that game just absolutely just baffles me when we've got new rules every week and coming into, especially into the EFL Cup. But unfortunately, it was Man City that would get the chocolates. They took 2-0 victory in the semi-final, leg 1 of 2, Steve. Obviously, good on a high from the Bournemouth win, mate, but then unfortunately against Man City in the EFL Cup.
I thought you were going to ask us about Crystal Palace. Really, to be honest, it's Sunderland. Like, I was going to ignore Sunderland and just talk about Crystal Palace and the problems that they've got. But anyway, the Man City game had nothing to do with Semenyo playing. It was all to do with Newcastle missing chances. Newcastle take their chances. It's a different scoreline. Newcastle would have still been, fully in the tie.
Walter Mata, Steve. Walter Mata.
Well, Wissa scores that first goal to put Newcastle 1 up, and that the stadium is going mental. And Newcastle's got one leg in the final. That's the way it feels, anyway. But Wissa misses that, and it set the tone for the rest of the game. And then follow on from that. Newcastle hit the post, they hit the bar. We had Volta, who was playing in central midfield, more or less. Sitting on the back of. He just when he came on, rather than pushing forward and getting in the box, and it's such a frustrating end of the game. Semenyo, the rule was at the start of the season. It just wasn't publicised and didn't become apparent until we get to the back end of the tournament, and suddenly that's allowed to happen. Of course, for anyone who thinks that Mark Gahey's going to play in the second leg, that won't happen, because you have to have played in the first leg of the semi-finals. Just anybody who's worried about Gahey playing. But it's listen, it was there at the start of the season. We can't complain about Newcastle missed chances. That's why they find themselves 2-0 down at half time. But I emphasise, it's half time. It's not all over. People think it's all over. It's not. And we saw Man City completely dismantled yesterday by
not wrong.
by Man United in the derby. So, Newcastle still have a chance. Newcastle need to go and do the impossible. They need to go to Man City and win the Carabao Cup. That's the last time I think we won, and the only time we've won at the Etihad. So, there's an opportunity there. We need an early goal, and then we need another goal, and then, I think the best hope we've got is to get a draw, not concede, and to take them to extra time and penalties. That's it. But you just never know, mate. You never know.
Are you going to be dipping into the transfer market? Obviously, there's been a fair few links coming through. Kamara was linked as of today. Lamine Kamara for the central midfield. You've had Alex Scott rumours. And one that keeps bubbling up for me is Francisco Mora as well, the left back. Obviously, you've had troubles in that defensive half. But again, we see this FFP sort of situation coming in. But I mean, I can't think. I mean, looking forwards for Newcastle, apart from today versus Wolves, which is us three could beat Wolves. You've got PSV, Villa, PSG, Liverpool, and Man City all in the next month. I mean, that is a massive, massive fixtures.
Yeah, I mean, they can do one with this PSR rubbish. I'm sick of hearing Eddie go on about it. Pack it in.
Yeah.
We've just sold a striker for a ridiculous amount of money. That money has got to be involved in these accounts. That's got to be available to spend. We've wasted money in the transfer window in the summer, and that's mainly down to the fact that all of our first options were deliberately either leaked to. My opinion is that the former employees at our club who were in positions of power have probably leaked our transfers to our rivals, and
So
we've
you're talking
ended up
about Shesko, you're talking about Ateki.
Yeah. Ekitike was our first choice, and and João Pedro was second choice, and both of those have ended up going to other clubs. We then embarrassingly go down and down and down the list. Sesko was on the list, so Man United are suddenly in for Sesko, and then we've ended up with Altamada. Lovely lad, scored some impressive goals this season, put some good work in as far as assists are playing. But we've spent over £60 million on somebody who can't score goals on a regular basis, and the whole point was we needed somebody who could score goals and replace, a striker. We bought a striker from Brentford who, when he's fully fit and on his day, good striker, scored 18, 19 goals last season. But he's the wrong side of the 25, 26 plus mark. He's hedging towards 30. We've spent another big chunk of our budget on him. When I've got to be honest, if you'd said to me, these are the two strikers you're going to spend best part of the Isak money on in the summer, I'd say I'd rather keep Callum Wilson and wait until somebody more available comes along. But it's just
what he did yesterday.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, he can come on, and him and Trippier are both players who could be on the bench and come on with 25 minutes to go and change a game. Yeah. Trippier can show the back four up and organise and help win you the points that you need rather than chucking a game away. And Wilson can come on with the last 20 and score a goal and a vital goal at that. But it's disappointing. And for me, it's one of those situations where, exactly, Alanga, terrible at the moment.
I was just going to ask you about that, Steve, because social media is going rampant against Alanga. I was sharing a couple of posts that I saw midweek with Ted as well. I mean, Anthony Alanga seems to be getting a lot of stick from Newcastle fans, but not only Newcastle fans, but a lot of like those footballing Twitter accounts and stuff like that. I mean, your verdict on Alanga, and you've said Walter Mata and Wissa there as well, but what about Alanga? What about the other signings that come in?
I mean, Ramsey is showing signs of being a player. He's got a great touch. He's got vision. He's not afraid to get stuck in, but there's no place with him in the midfield, no place for him on a regular basis in that midfield with the three players that we've got in there. Alanga is just suffering massively from either a confidence fall or whatever. I'm really not sure what is going on with Alanga. He came on the other night. I'll be fair to him against Man City. The first three bits of involvement he had in the game, I was like, go on, son, go on. And he was okay. His first touch, sensible ball to, people in the midfield, but he then went back to normal. He's falling over, he's slipping, he's not getting his first touch, and it's just it's really sad to see a player struggle like that, and some players can't cope with the atmosphere. They can't cope with, Newcastle is a great ground when things are going right and people are cheering and they're behind you, and it is a force to be reckoned with, that crowd. But I tell you what, when it's negative and moaning and groaning, it's awful, and it can get on, and a player can be affected by that. And I do believe, I mean, there's no smoke without fire. I'm not going to go into the ins and outs of it, but we've suggested this on NUFC Matters as well. There's a lot going on behind the scenes with the players. There's a lot of things that are going on in their personal lives, and I think that's had half the problem. But the biggest problem still, forget about all that, is Isak. Isak is key to the problems that Newcastle have faced all season. It's affected the way the side play. It's affected the mental attitude of some of the players because they've lost their mate. It's affected a lot of the players because the focal point of the way that Newcastle United played has been removed, and there wasn't a replacement. And it's as simple as that. It's bizarre because we're win on Wednesday night. We're into the next leg of the shootout stages of the Champions League. If we can somehow, with a miracle, pull that game back in the Carabao Cup, we'll be in another cup final. Although it's very unlikely, but you never know in football. And we are a tough away draw at Villa, but we're in the fourth round of the FA Cup. And a win today, which I don't think we'll get, by the way, is a chance to get back into level with the top 5 teams. So we'll be in the top 5. So we're still in the chase for Europe. So I think there's all to play for. But Newcastle haven't played well all season. We cannot sugarcoat it. They haven't played well all season, with the exception of the odd half here, the odd half there, the odd game here, the odd game there. And Matt Targett's not the answer. Why the hell Newcastle are even contemplating bringing Matt Targett back? It's a name on a piece of paper. That's all he is for us in the Premier League. Matt Targett is not a Premier League player. And Matt Targett coming back to fill, even sit on the bench and come on if needed as left back, it's not the answer. It's not the answer. And if that's where we are financially, if that's where we are as a club, it's sad because we will end up seeing Eddie Howe depart the club. I think if this continues, his reputation's on the line. He can't keep getting blood out of a stone, and he can't keep performing miracles. And all along the road, 12 mile along the road, with Sunderland doing well, it, from a fan base point of view, it does pile of pressure on, and Sunderland keep winning and they keep getting results. And the fact that Sunderland are, again above us, we need a win today to qualify for Europe, but it will still affect those people on social media and people's, people might say it doesn't affect them, but it still does affect you. It's a local rivalry, and that's it, But I could go on. I could go on all day, lads. But
I bet you could, mate.
I'm not particularly happy at the minute, like.
Yeah, I get it, mate. And look, it's been a frustrating season, I think, and it kicked off straight away from the Isak thing. We saw it, wasn't it? And it brewed right from there, and that frustration seems to have continued. Look, let's take a minute. We're going to look forward after this, but we're going to take a minute. We're going to put smiles on dials after a frustrating chat. It's time for Troll of the Week.
I just want to say that I had absolutely nothing to do with this. The top secret US weapon known as the Wraith, used in Maduro capture, spotted in rare photos. Yes, I've got nothing to do with that. So just a disclaimer. But big thanks to these guys who've clearly got a bit of taste. They're starting to sell Wraith hats on Facebook, which is fantastic. Wraith Lifeline member. Excellent.
There you go.
Thank you for the person who sent me that. Anyway, I'll have to get one, yeah. We better get these in before Man United start playing well. The Man United cycle, lose games. Rome wasn't built in a day. We are Manchester United. This is unacceptable. Appoint new manager. So, yeah, we better get this one out of the way as well. This is the best thing that you can do at Manchester United. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe says that the Barcelona Spanish Super Cup trophy is... it's all down to Manchester United. Rashford's still a Manchester United player, so that trophy's ours. We're very happy. It's a great success. And Brighton did do well against Man United. Man City not so well, but I did like this that was pushed out by one of the... Walker has brought out a new brand of crisps in Liverpool.
Not helpful.
And Richard Keys, sad he had the news of Terry Orris passing. He was a worry and won fans over wherever he played. He was great for us at Coventry, and the reason I got Gabby a job at Sky. I had no idea who she was when we met, but I knew her dad. Rest in peace, Terry. Your daughter did you proud. And Dan's got it right here. He says, great to see a trip down self-indulgent memory lane at this time. Thoughts with you. That just sums Richard Keys up, doesn't it?
Not wrong. Not wrong.
Tattoos. A lovely Dundee one. A six-fingered Dundee fan.
Oh my gosh!
Unbelievable.
Far out.
And nothing like putting your favourite song on your arm.
It is.
It is my. That hurts to look.
And especially if it's a Liverpool chant.
Never walk.
Oh my God.
Brilliant stuff. This is a true story. Swindon captain Ollie Clark was banned for 7 matches for a highly violating foul play on 2 opponents' private body parts. I thought that was bollocks, but it is true.
Very good. Very subtle. Love it.
Well done. Well done.
And I did try to get the new Newcastle United 95 range, but it had all sold out within 48 hours. And I can see why. It was on the episode of The Simpsons this week.
Class.
And here, Liam who, right?
Liam, talking about his management, I believe.
Yeah, England, in English, manage, if you split the 2 words, is man and age. So you're aging men.
Oh,
am I a manager or a coach? I'm both. Coaching is education. Coaching is wanting to improve players on a technical and tactical level. Management is making sure you have a strong culture. Yes, I think we might have a Liam Rossenoir, as Ry calls him. So we'll have some of his logic each week. The away end felt very old school last night. Average age was 45 plus, says Lee. Maybe a Tuesday night in 0 temperatures in the northeast isn't a thing for all of our hospitality guests. Sadly, Old Trafford on Saturday is hence where my 24K points didn't get me a match ticket this season. Modern football, yeah, I think we're all feeling a bit of that, Lee, on away travels. And Bernie posted this: when the missus takes a hotel balcony photo on holiday before you go out at night. Got some great lookalikes this week as well. Jonathan Woodgate after 1 week coaching Man United.
Jesus.
And Anthony Gordon.
Yes.
And after that circulated on social media, I'm pleased to say Anthony went to the hairdressers and got his bloody haircut. About time, son. About time.
Long overdue.
It is dry January, lads, and it is going well. I haven't pissed myself since December.
We're at that age.
And I thought you meant football boots when you said I'd be getting a pair of Predators.
Oh, no.
Oh my God.
Signs at football grounds. No running.
Oh, we're getting a yellow card.
No running.
No. Oh no.
And the Bricklaimers' lawn is getting out of control and they're blaming B&Q. They've been to Bathgate no more. Linwood no more. No more. And the final one, this. Yes, here he is again. Someone said Liam Rossinier looks and sounds like Will McKenzie on the In-Betweeners.
Oh my God.
He really does.
Oh my God.
I'll put that up again. Look at that. What a combination.
That is spinning.
It is him. It is him. Brilliant stuff. Thanks to everybody who sent them in. If you've got any more, send them, as always, to me, nufcmatters1892@gmail.com, or drop them into the lads on our socials.
We did have one that was too late to add there as well, by the way. Troll of the week. Leighton Orient actually managed to troll themselves. They're being charged by the FA for fielding 2 ineligible players. One is in the middle of a 7-game ban, and one of them wasn't actually even on the team sheet. So I don't know how you could physically do that as a professional football club but they managed to do it and troll themselves. Just incredible stuff. There you go. Sorry.
Actually insane. Welcome on back to Three's the Crowd podcast, the only Northeast football podcast where we cover Newcastle, Sunderland, and Middlesbrough, bringing three rival teams together to have a bit of banter, a bit of laugh. It's time to look forward ahead at the fixtures, and we have got a big one this afternoon, and I want to get straight into this one because we have running out of time. But Steve, something shook me here, mate. Rob Edwards, the Rat, in charge at Wolves this afternoon. Newcastle United, you better win 6-0. And you're telling me that you're not predicting a win. If you don't win 6-0, Steve, you have got an obligation to the North. Steve, you can't let me down, okay? The Rat deserves a 7-0 throbbing from Newcastle United. Please tell me that Newcastle United are going to be up for this one. We've got Wolves against... that's an Australianism. Ted thinks it's different. Wolves v Newcastle this afternoon. Steve, please give me some hope that Newcastle are going to get the job done.
Well, Bonnie Blue won't be in attendance, mate, so I don't think a throbbing is likely. But I think with Newcastle,
if you win 7-0, you will be.
She'll be there.
I think it comes down to the fact that Newcastle's morale is going to be quite low after that defeat against Man City. And there is things, that the injury list is as we get one in, we seem to lose two. No Dan Burn, no Willie Masula this time round, but they are on the way back, which is great. But Jacob Murphy's now going to miss out with a hamstring problem. He's had several scans. They can't find out what the injury is, which is bizarre. No return date for Jamal Lascelles at Emil Kraft. It looks like Lascelles could be on his way out. Fabian Shaw's undergone surgery. He's now penciled in for an April return. And, of course, Tino Livramento went out last week as well. So he's now got a hamstring injury and he's out till March. Good news, well, Lewis Miley could make his 50th Premier League appearance at the young old age of 19. Wolves are missing a few players, but they've got one back from AFCON duty. Agbadou is back, but they're missing Gomez, Chiwame, Bellegarde, Manetti are all out. After 11 successive Premier League defeats, though, Wolves have taken 5 points from the last 3 games, and that's why I've predicted a 1-1 draw, because they got a 1-1 draw at Manchester United and at Everton. And then they've won 3-0 over West Ham. And, that's the problem. They had a morale-boosting win last week in the FA Cup. Yes, it was against Shrewsbury, but goals, and another win and keeping the run going is I think they won 6-1 and Strand Larson got 3 goals. He got a hat-trick. So that his confidence was good. And last but by no means least, Matthias Marnier, 18 years of age. They've given him a chance in the team, and he scored 2 goals in these last 2 games. So how against Edwards as well hasn't really been a positive outcome the last time we played them. Rob Edwards was manager of Luton Town. Newcastle drew 4-4 at St James's Park. And then they had a 1-0 home win against us, and that was only a couple of seasons ago. So that's why I'm not very confident in this game. I think a draw is more than likely. I'm hoping the Newcastle that went to Everton turns up and spanks them 3 or 4-0, which is what we really need, a morale booster. We need goals for Wissa, etc. But that's what we really need. But yeah, I'm going for a 1-1 draw, which I think will set the murmurers off again. I think if Newcastle get beat on against PSV on Wednesday, which is possible, I really think the doom and gloom merchants will be out again. But I'm going for a draw down at Wolves. I think it'll be 1-1.
Oh, God, I'm scared now. Teddy boy, Steve's making sense, and that doesn't help me with a big victory needed for over Wolves, because we've got a Middlesbrough hate watch against Rob Edwards and Wolves this season, mate. Look, the overlap this week, obviously, and I know there is certain other podcasts available as well, but obviously they spoke about Eddie Howe and his chances of getting the Man United job at the end of the season, given the way Newcastle are going, and they reckon that Eddie Howe's a perfect fit. If not, Man United going and get Tuchel, and then Howe gets the England job. I mean, Wolves today, they have to smack it, Ted. They have to, right?
It's a weird one, and I agree with everything Steve's just said, to be honest, which makes this show terrible when we do that and agree on things, but that's the nature of it. We don't disagree on everything. Wolves are playing themselves into form. I think it coincides with Newcastle obviously having these defensive frailties at the I mean, in terms of fitness, not in terms of the quality of the players they've got. So yeah, there is going to be a little bit of uncertainty in there. I feel like, aside from Bruno, I'm not a fan of Bruno as a personality because he winds me up, which is exactly what he's trying to do, which is great and all well for them. Apart from Bruno, I don't see real leadership at the back. And I think that's what's missing from there. It needs somebody to galvanise and organise them a little bit more. And I just feel today with Strand Larsen getting his hat trick, with Sane as well, who Steve mentioned, there's danger in that Wolves attack. There really is. I think going forward though, Newcastle have got enough to get something out of the game as well. I honestly think I can see this one being, I can see goals in it. I really can, and I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go for a minimum 2-2. I think there's goals all over the place here. Because
oh my gosh!
Both of them can't keep clean sheets at this moment in time. So yeah, I'm going for a high scoring score draw, a minimum 2-2. Wouldn't surprise me if it was a 3-all over it, even a 4-all.
Oh my goodness me! You're both making sense, and that means my job in the middle is even harder. I'm going to go Newcastle 4-0 because I'm the one that doesn't make sense all the time. I'm saying 4-0. I'm saying Newcastle will absolutely thrash Wolves.
What did you predict for Man United yesterday?
Yeah, I did. I know. I picked 4-1 for Man City as well. I've got Carrick hate watch and I got Rob Edwards hate watch, and it's not going too well. Let me tell you. Well, it's gonna be a massive game, and I'm honestly going for Newcastle 4-0. I honestly think Newcastle need to go and absolutely smack them and get their confidence back. I know we're talking about confidence games coming from Wolves and stuff like that. I honestly think that Newcastle can get it as well. We've got to look ahead as well because there are 2 more games that Middlesbrough will be playing midweek and Newcastle as well. Let's go Newcastle because we're on the theme of things. We are running out of time. We've got to get Ted out of here. I do apologise. We've got Newcastle versus PSV midweek, Steve. Massive game, obviously, and you're on the blimmin' doorstep of Champions League, mate, potential. Given you were talking about the dismay and the downheartedness nature of the season, I mean, you're in an amazing spot, mate, come Champions League. And it's Newcastle at home with PSV, which will be an amazing night at St. James's Park. How do you see that one, mate?
It really depends on what happens today. I think if Newcastle could get a confidence boosted win today, then it's a different game on Wednesday. Newcastle's up against a really tough Champions League team, but they're at home, and they've got that opportunity to really turn it on. But the way that our results go, if it's a Champions League game after a Premier League game after the Champions League game, we haven't fed as well as we have previously. But I'm going to go for another draw. I think a draw won't get us through. I don't think. I think we'll then have to go to PSG and get something which will be difficult. We've already beaten PSG, of course, in the Champions League in our first return. So I think I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go for more of an entertaining draw at St. James's Park. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw on Wednesday.
Okay. Teddy boy, Newcastle at home, PSV, after they draw 4-4, like you said today with Wolves. What's going to happen midweek, mate?
I'm actually going to disagree with Steve on this one, and
good.
It'll be the most Newcastle thing ever to probably get beat at Wolves and then go and win the game against PSV and get through to the latter stages. It's just been that kind of season for Newcastle.
Yeah.
I'm not basing my prediction on anything logical whatsoever than just like it would be typical if this happened. So I can see a result. I can actually see a 2-1 for Newcastle. To be honest, I can see them winning this one. PSV, they aren't what they used to be back in the heyday when Bobby Robson was there and producing absolute fantastic players. They're struggling a little bit these days. I think there's more than enough about Newcastle to actually edge through that one. And then obviously PSG after that is, that's anyone's guess.
Yeah. I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory. I think, honestly, I don't know where we're going. I'm more Newcastle than anyone today. I'm going 2-0 against PSV, and I'm going 4-0 against Wolves. I honestly think that they can have a big week if all goes well. I trust in Eddie Howe to get it right. Honestly, it's going to be incredible. Anyway, we've got to move on quickly because Middlesbrough have also got a midweek journey, and they're away to Stoke City. Yay for us. It's going from West Brom away to Stoke City away. You can't do it on a cold night in Stoke. Where can you do it? Middlesbrough at Stoke City this week. It's going to be Wednesday night fixture for them. And unfortunately, coming off the back of West Brom, who absolutely parked the bus, we're going to another team that loves parking 3 buses. So it's going to be an absolute enthralling game. I'm going for a 1-0 victory in that one because we know what Stoke City are like, Teddy boy. But look, 2 tough away fixtures coming off the back of the away fixture against Fulham as well. Middlesbrough's 3rd away fixture in the space of a week against Stoke City, mate. How do you see that one playing out?
Quite simply, it'll not be a game I'm tuning into, mate. I'll be going to bed. Stoke City at home midweek. I couldn't imagine anything worse than maybe watching Love Island or something like that.
Yeah. Hey. That's a beautiful island.
Mate, I can't stand TV shows like that because I'm intelligent and I've got a temper.
We're going to get you on that one day. This podcast is going to take off, and you're going to be that.
But I believe this is like that.
They're not sticking them in the jungle.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I tell you what, us 3 in the jungle would be fascinating viewing.
Oh, imagine.
Just imagine both me and Steve going to Rye going, he's doing me head in, he's doing me head.
I'll be like,
I know.
Give me a rice.
Bloody, he's cleaning the dunny.
Anyway, getting back to the score prediction. It's got 0-0 written all over. It's going to be an absolute war fest.
Yeah, I'm worried about it as well, but I'm still predicting Middlesbrough 1-0. Steve, Middlesbrough versus Stoke midweek, mate.
There was a song played in the gym this morning that I was in, and it was Pig Bag. It's a Stein. So it's 1-0 to Boro.
Get in, Steve. That's why I love you. Righto, lads. Before we take off, I want to get a couple of. I want to leave everyone on a little bit of a cheeky inside bet. Okay. By this time next week, when we come back on Three's a Crowd, I want to get the following predictions. Okay. Will Thomas Frank be in a job? Yes or no?
No.
Save this because we're going to check this next week. Will Oliver Glasner be in a job? Ted?
Absolutely not.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
We're going to see Thomas Frank sacked and Oliver Glasner sacked by the time Three's a Crowd comes back next week.
The money go around's going round again, like, and the managerial money go around is definitely going round. Yeah.
It is going to be absolutely incredible.
Agreed.
We've got Sunderland taking on West Ham next week as well. West Ham have just gotten a massive victory over Tottenham as well, so we'll talk about that. But that's it. That's all we got the time for. I do apologise. We ran over a little bit for you, Teddy boy, but we had to get Teddy out of here.
All good.
We apologise that it's not a full hour, but we will be back next week to cover all of these fixtures. Look, it's a massive, massive week for Newcastle United especially. We got a game against Wolves today. You've got a game against PSV midweek. Middlesbrough going to Stoke, hoping to hold on and keep Ipswich at bay. Sunderland are just sitting there with Xhakas and they don't even need to worry about anything. But Middlesbrough and Newcastle, massive week ahead. Three's a Crowd will be back next week to recover and hopefully pick Steve up off the floor if we need to. If not, bring him down from Cloud 9 because he's had 2 massive, massive wins. We'll see how it is. Make sure you tune in. Thank you so much for everyone watching. Thank you for always tuning in and supporting us. Make sure you check out everyone's socials at NUFC Matters, at Invictus, or at Ted the Mackham. And we will see you all same time, same place next week right here on Three's a Crowd. Bye for now.
Three's a Crowd podcast will return. That's not a threat. It's a promise.